told them that I see few women on the leadership, and I few politicians. I really want to be one of them to fill the gap, because by then it was the primary marriage image I had. And then day by day or year by year, I did these courses on politics, a bachelor's degree, and then worked with the political missions like embassies, and the real political missions which enter into the politics or work with the election groups. So basically, that's like the interest of having the leadership power and being in politics motivated me to study political science. Well, I think our politics is very much complicated than the other world, but overall, I see that like through recent years, I have noticed that it's not only that it's complicated in Afghanistan, it's the politics is complicated in the whole world, especially when it comes to Afghanistan. The complication is because it doesn't follow a certain structure as I see it. I mean, you can't enter the politics just with the knowledge you get. I mean, I studied political science because I wanted to get into this. And now when I see, like, if you don't have that power structure, or if you are not with the politicians who are previously in this, or if you are not making adjustments with the political groups, with the political parties, you're not really going to be into it. And the complication is that everything is so unstable here. It changes so quickly. Politician changes their minds so quickly. The political situation changes so quickly, and the instability is always like you're not really sure with which politician or with which political group you should be really getting along, because sometimes they do good, sometimes they do bad. And for a political science student who has really read good stuff in the book and in the practice, if things are not as how it is in the book, it's really surprising, as it has been for me. So I'm kind of on the corner of politics now, and maybe it takes me another few years to be in it, really, to get along with this complication of the politics. But at the end of the day, for me as a girl or as a woman, it's important to be out there and have my say, even if it's a complicated process. Liberty Book Club is actually an initiative I started 2016. 2016 is the year when the American University of Afghanistan, where I studied my bachelor's degree, was attacked by gunmen. And then there was huge explosion, a lot of students, teachers killed, and the equipment and the main library that we had over there was damaged. And for a long time, almost a year, we didn't have access to a library. And then I had moved with my parents' house, so I was living with them. And in the neighborhood, I went one day or many times to get a book somewhere or stay somewhere to do a reading. In 2016, when I went everywhere around the house, there wasn't a book club or a library near me. So I started a mobile book club. We were meeting in cafes, youths coming together, exchanging books. But then most of them asked me that if I could put it into a permanent place. And the whole journey it got, and we put a permanent place where people come to read, access books, and share ideas or do cultural programs. We even do poetry sessions there, writing sessions, or some singing sessions for children. So basically, the library provides the cultural services, and of course the library services as each other libraries does. And then we had a permanent place, and then we promoted from Kabul to we expanded our activities from Kabul to Maidan Wardak to Bamyan. And then this quarantine thing, the COVID-19 come interrupted us a bit. Hopefully, we get away from this quarantine and COVID soon. But during COVID 19, as it's a hard time, I saw a lot of things are happening online. The library was not functioning well through its online activities. So we initiated Atefa Foundation just in the aim of to repay the love of the people, the love of the community who loved me one day, who did a lot of things in for me one day. It's in a way a dedication to thank those efforts, whether it was government, whether it was my friends, whoever did something for me. So now, if I can't repay to them, Atfa Foundation is actually here to work for their community, in their community, and thank them in a way by empowering their community. And our focus is on human rights. Basically, we work for children, women, youth, and they are very primary focus of us. We actually successfully did our first program of the 2020 online on Afghan tech sisters, and it's the first that actually aims empowering girls in technology from a school to university. So what we are doing is we have online classes in technology. They learn about basics of computer, basics of CV writing, in anything related to computer. Our aim is to assist them be able to code themselves. So that has been so far a very good program, and a lot of our students had good achievements so far. And there are also internship programs we provide here. The internship aims to prepare women, especially, but we also give chances to women, to men, to be part of the program and learn new skills, and get ready for joining an actual job in other offices. So for Atfa Foundation, currently everything happens online, um, and we are happy for bringing change in any possible way. I'm thanking the community who one day loved me, who one day assisted me to attend the university, who one day assisted me to read a book, or who one day assisted me to do something good. Um, I was actually from grade four, I remember, from grade four of school. I had the habit of writing, reading. You know, the thing is that if you read, you obnoxiously want to write. And during those times, Oliver Twist is a book, is a novel. I remember when I was grade four or in grade five, I was reading this book, and a lot of other novels I was reading by that time. So books as such were like somehow entertaining me and making my mind to think. And when I was thinking, I was feeling that I should write. I started my writing journey with writing my diary. I was writing my everyday life in my notebooks, all the memories in the notebook with ups and downs. If I was happy, if I was sad, if I was going to school, something was interesting. And then slowly I noticed that I could actually write poems during school. So first, during school, I was writing poem to only take my feelings out. And then later on, I noticed that my poetry had a meaning, had its kind of effect on a society. Maybe it could be a voice for change, especially when I was writing on women's rights or women's issues, or the hidden feelings that girls or women couldn't easily um, speak about them in the society. And sometimes even media was trying to publish my work. TVs were coming for interviews and recording my poetry. So those poems was somehow on women, And the basic motivation was that I really wanted to raise a voice, to share something, and that feeling of sharing still keeps me motivated to write, whether stories or whether poetry. I think our people are fond of poetry, in everything they have something, and then in every program they have, even if it's like natural sitting, ordinary people are sitting, they still have a bit of poetry in this. I think it's part of the culture, and it's the root of who we are, and the everyday of who we live with. And in the past, in the emperor or in the king's palace, there has been sessions for poetry where people were coming to read poetry. Before it has been very strong, and then recent days I see it's not that strong. People are not very much thinking on poetry. However, it's very important. They are just using some of the poetries like before, but I think now most of people do not focus on our poetry, whether it's in Persian or it's in Dari or Pashto or any other of these local languages. So there is sometimes I feel it that there is low attention on our poetry, and especially females' poetry, females' work, females' art. They haven't been taken serious very much here. Maybe the government structure or the government cultural section, they could affect. I don't know what, but how and what, but I really feel concerned about our poetry because it should really be alive like the years before, in celebrations like Nowruz, in celebrations like Eid, or in winter when the Yalda night, when there is a lot of poetry to be read out there. Occasions like that should be celebrated, and poets' work should be published. They should be encouraged, because at the end of the day, every human has a different kind of feeling. If it's a man, maybe their feeling is different. If it's a woman, maybe their feeling is different, their voice is different. So poetries can have a lot for us as a culture, and also as part of our everyday life. I read most of the Persian poetries, like Maulana, if you have heard of him. Uh, I read a lot from Hafiz, and he really inspires me a lot. And then there is this Persian poet Nadia Anjuman from Afghanistan. She really inspires me. Actually, early 2004, I guess, when I was writing my primary poems, it was very much affected by her work. And then later on, I was reading a lot from Farooq Farrokhzad, an Iranian poet. Um, they are very much focusing on the word liberty, freedom, and the sort of female voices or women voices that they express, and the deep feelings of love, even they express that, and the hidden feelings that most of us don't really talk about much in our society. um, I really appreciate their work, and they really inspires me. And there is a book, uh, Milk and Honey. I also read that book. The poems are very nice. And then I also have been reading from Sylvia Plath, or if I'm not wrong about the name. And yeah, I read some Pashto poetries from Khan Baba as well, and like any poetry that comes up to me, it really touches my heart. I'm so much involved in this, and almost like each week or each month, I try to record one poetry and put it online on my Facebook or on my stories in WhatsApp, because a lot of my friends tell me that when you read it's good. You recite poetry, we love it. So sometimes I share it for them, and sometimes I just do it for the joy of myself to recite poetries. And yes, of course, I enjoy most of these poets' work, and they inspire me. Freedom for someone who is born free but then is losing that freedom, or then is no more free, it could really mean a lot. I mean, for me, personally, it's free would mean that I would be able to think in a certain way that I wanted, to talk in a certain way that I wanted, to go somewhere, to do something without any limitation. But I feel like I was born free, but I'm no more free. I have lost that freedom into the society, into the culture, and it's kind of painful that you feel you're not free. I have that feeling. And personally, I wish that no one is feeling being restricted, especially if they are living in Afghan society or World War countries. For me, freedom would really be that happy smile when you walk in the streets free of any fear, like being threatened by Taliban or being threatened by your male family member or something as such. That's a difficult question, but I really think there would be peace one day up here if these peace stakeholders are going to let us really manage this process. If we decide anything is possible, whether it's freedom, it's peace, it's war, when you decide. In my country, I mentioned that the politics is complicated, so now the peace deal is complicated, but there will one day for sure be a peaceful Afghanistan because everyone is tired of war. Uh, every woman is tired of war, every man is tired of war. And even I'm sure our stakeholders in the peace process, whether it's America, whether it's Pakistan, or the Taliban, or whoever that makes it unpeaceful, are tired of it. They can't um, continue it this way. And even with the Taliban that we are negotiating now for peace, I'm sure they know that they can never make this country like before. They are adjusting. We are adjusting. Uh, so this means that yes, really, peace will come. Things will get good, but I can say it wouldn't be this soon. It takes time, and even when peace comes, it's just like another fight for some of us, especially for women. A different journey. Once peace deal is done, once peace is coming, it will take years for us to readjust and to do the integration, to do the placement, to come along with with a terror group who really killed a lot of your people, a lot of your dear ones. So peace would come definitely. I mean, there's no doubt in that, but it takes time. Yes, definitely. Gender equality is important in the peace process, not only for Afghanistan but for the world, because the more equal the society is, the better it will be and the less problems we will have. For my country, it's now so much imbalanced. Most of us women, our voices are not very much heard in the peace process. Imagine like 100 men goes to discuss about peace process, and then they say we have considered gender issues, and they only have three female. Can really three female of a whole country represent us in a process where there is at least 80 men? Among 80 men, only three three female, um, like I think that's not just, and this formula should change, because even if this three female comes on the board, they will try their best to give our voices, to raise our voices. But for a meaningful peace process for Afghanistan, and for a lasting one, we need to have it as inclusive as possible. And gender should really be considered, because if women uh, and men are not working together, one part will be missing. And when one part is missing, it will see societal problems, societal challenges, or economical challenges. A lot of this gender inequality that is going on in my country is an effect of um, economic differences. Men has a lot, women has less. Men earns more day by day, women does not earn. And the more that this is unequal, the economy is not not considering the gender equality, then problematic it gets. And about education, the same term. If we don't educate both male and female, then of course the society would continue with one way. A lot of male would be educated, lots of women would be uneducated, and then they would not understand itself. For understanding and development of the economy, the education, bettering the situation of peace, bettering the situation of life in Afghanistan, it's very important to consider gender equality. Well, in a time that we are really having different kinds of challenge in the country, my message would be to keep your heart in Afghanistan. Think really peacefully. Think really in good of everyone, not good of your own pocket, not good of your own nation or ethnicity. Think about good of the all, and always work hard for bettering not just Afghanistan, bettering the world. Because if you get the big perspective of thinking about the world, I'm sure then you will be making Afghanistan a better place, and the world would be better place.